Welcome to Smriti. Continuing on the topic of Veda, we have Dr. C.L. Prabhakar Garu here. Welcome, Andy. Thank you for coming again to continue to pour your wisdom to me sitting here and also to our viewers. I had a question for you, a very basic one. Had asked you, what is Veda? What are Vedas? And you have so elaborately and eloquently, you try to explain so much and bringing the breadth of references as much in that 1 hour we had. Really appreciate, Andy. Thank you so much. Continuing on, so we talk about tradition, heritage. In your own words, what is Vedic heritage, tradition? If you can explain.
Thank you giving an opportunity for me. So let us make a prayer to Goddess Saraswati for a while, because whenever we touch Veda, all gods become active. They become curious also. And as I told, it will be a kind of meeting trying to discuss about them and make them popular and known to all people. And as we understand, the word Veda is a knowledge. And it could be knowledge connected to trigunas or mundane world, at the same time super mundane world or spiritual knowledge. Mm-hmm. And this kind of knowledge has been of attraction to us since the times immemorial. We cannot date exactly. I do not agree to date the Vedas like that. And so it's a long flowing river of knowledge, something like Ramayana Ganga or anything Ganga. It's a flowing one. And so we call Vedic tradition in English. But in Sanskrit or in our normal language, we say Veda Sampradayam. Veda Sampradayam. Sampradayam means pradaya is to mean to give away to people. To give away to those who are really agog to gather knowledge connected to their own faculty, their own interests, and their own circumstances, and their own context. Therefore, and it's a pradana also. See, jnana pradana, there is no higher than giving out knowledge to people than any other thing. Therefore, the knowledge has been given to us by our rishis, great rishis. They are called as seers in English, and they are called rishis or darshana. And they are all called pasyakas also. For example, Kasyapaha Pasyako Bhavati, they say, Kasyapa is Prajapati and he will be seeing the all knowledge too. So the point is, if you just try to reverse the word Kasyapa, you get the word Pasyaka. That means all Pasyakas, all those people who are able to visualize or hear or get on to such knowledge, they are all called Pasyakas and they are all called seers and they are all called. So that's why the Veda is a Gnana, and that Gnana, when they got it, they wanted to share to others. That's why it's called a Pradana. So that's a Dana, it's trying to give away to people. In order to give away, they have to evolve some methods to see that it reaches all kinds of people, whoever are interested and depending upon the level to which they are also oriented. Because all people are not intelligent. When we set a question paper 100 marks, we cannot set question paper only for the highly intelligent people. With 35% student, average student also should keep in time and then prescribe. So that the intelligent fellow will be getting higher percentage while the ordinary people will pass the exam. So like that, the Veda is having that kind of orientation within its limits. So it's called as Sampradaya. So Sampradayam, Samyak Pradana is Sampradana. Samyak means in a proper manner, it has to be imparted to the people. And that proper manner has number of methods. So many methods are there to see that it is being imparted to the people. And so this Vedic tradition, if you talk about the word tradition is a tracking. It's a track. It's a marga. So you have to be put on the knowledge path. We call it a spiritual path. So once you orient or when you mount the spiritual path or knowledge path, then you will be comfortably seeing a lot of panorama of it. That's why it's a tradition. It is a flow. It's a track event. And if you are really pertinent and then determined, then you will keep on moving in that Vedic knowledge, and ultimately where it leads you. See, it leads you for good character and conduct. Sila Vrutta Phala Vidya. That's what they say. See, Veda Vidya is also Sila Vrutta Phala. What is that result that Veda Vidya gives? It's only to give you, to manipulate or stipulate your Sila, this character, Vrutta is conduct. And these two things are there. Normally, our life is being a fulfillment. Therefore, this Veda Vidya, the Vedic tradition, aims at Sila and Vrutta because it's a Vidya. And therefore, this kind of Sila and Vrutta is not one-day matter. It's a continuous flow. Because every time, all the time we breathe our life, we have to be correcting our own character and conduct and discipline and all that. See that we will be very happy. We are disciplined people. That's why the knowledge tradition will certainly of great fillip to us, enthusiasm to us. We will be able to be always happy, not only, but also make others happy. That is the Gnana Marga. In fact, hundreds of people have spoken about Gnana Marga. And what is a Gnana Marga is Veda only. And what is the content of Veda is again more important because Veda has got multifaceted personality. And as a result, when we start our attention to the Vedic knowledge, we will be getting a lot of benefits out of it. And when you study Veda, you are really on right context, and so you will definitely grow. So before I talk more, I just want to introduce one Vedic mantra which is in prayer to Goddess Saraswati, which is found in the Yajurveda also. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Bhirvajinivati Dhinama Vitryavatu Ano Divo Bruhataha Parvatada Saraswati Yajata Gantu Yajnam Vagdevyai Namaha. This is the Vedic tradition here. The Vedic tradition starts with the Gnana Saraswati. Vignana Saraswati. I told you tradition is flow, is the track. Is that so into the track? And so we are asking that particular presiding deity or Saraswati, who is a flow, she's a Devi, she's a light. She's a luminary body, and wherever she is there, there is light. Wherever knowledge is there, no fear at all. Where there is no knowledge, fear lurks, and fear haunts, and fear makes the people hopeless. Therefore, she is a Devi. Saraswati is Devi, and so our most requested prana. Prana is to lead us, not to make us stop, and not to give us any impediments, not to give some kind of breakages. We have to, once we start reciting Veda or mantras, then we should complete the mantra and derive the expected result. And if necessary, we can repeat the mantra. As you repeat the mantra more and more times, the energy is being generated, and as a result, we have all effect. Not only you are benefited, but the entire cosmos and all people who are connected are also benefited by that. That's why Prano de Prana Saraswati is prana. She is very much praseshena nayati asman. So she will just guide us. Knowledge guides us. Knowledge is power, Veda is a power. So Devi, and what is Veda is Vajinivati. Vaja means gifts, the things that you want. Contextually, the wants will be varying. Desires also will be varying. But we always subsist wants and desires all through the time. Therefore, all our mantras tell you wants and desires. In fact, I worked on this article and published in journal, the wants and desires in the Yajurveda. Like that, other Vedas also we can take into account, because any mantra you take, they teach you, this you should want, this you should desire. Want is something which is necessary, and desire is something which is optional. You may even give up the desire, but you can't desire the want. You can't give up the wants. Wants must be attended to. So the body wants are there, the mind wants are there, spirit wants are there, but they have to be attending. That's why all the gods are connected to fulfill the wants and desires of the people. And when our wants and desires are fulfilled, then we get awards. And the award, we call it as the phala. That's why Vajebhihi Vajinivati, when we are in the traditional knowledge, then Vajinivati, that is Vajanivati means she has plenitude of gifts to us. It is our choice to find out. Something like when you go to a shop of curio shop or any other fancy shop, you have got so many things. There is nothing that you do not want, and you desire at everything. You can't carry all of them. So if you go to any shop, you will find the Liberty Statue or the Seattle Needle Tower or something like that. But all are displayed there. But that is Vajinivati. But we must have some kind of selection thereby. That's why Vajebhihi. That's why Vajebhihi Vajinivati means you can always have choice to choose whatever you want whenever you make prayer, whenever you make ritual, or whenever you do offerings, and whatever forms you take up, Vajinivati. And for all this kind of activity, what we want is knowledge is not very easy for anybody to acquire. Vedas don't come to all people, and Vedas only come to those people who deserve to be friendly with them. That's why Vedas come and stand before the Brahmin and ask you, you please take me, but you don't give me to another undeserving fellow. That's why Veda Vidhi Brahman, Veda speak to Brahmins, speak to the Upasakas that I am there, but you must use me properly, you must possess me properly and all that. That's why she said, Dhinam avitravatu, avihi travatu. Avatu is to protect. Dhi is the intelligence. Dhi is that. So, for all the progress in the knowledge, to be prosperous in the Vedic tradition, we have to have our intelligence, sharp intelligence. And therefore, who is that who makes your intelligence sharper? Actually, intelligence will be dull, but liable for growth. That's why all human beings are intelligent animals. Rather, say they grow by intelligence, not instinct. You can always overcome instincts, but intelligence is there for humans. But animals, the four-legged animals, when they are horizontal to the ground, they cannot have an improvement of intelligence. Only when we are perpendicular to the ground, 90 degrees to the ground, then only a scope for our intelligence. That's why Dhi is something always liable for growth and sharpness and intelligence. That's why Avatu, we make a prayer that Veda Purusha, the Veda Vijnana, must be able to protect us, must be able to guide us or push us to the normal things. And this knowledge, what is that knowledge? Saraswati is Parvatada, Bruhataha Parvatada. That is, Parvata is no mountainous benefits it is able to give us. Mountainous benefits, when we say that the Vedic tradition we are supporting, that is, we have known desires and unknown desires. And as a result, we get known results and unknown results. So sometimes people make you know the unknown results too. And that will be a surprise and unexpected thing. Therefore, whenever you take to the Vedic knowledge and the practice of that knowledge and friendship with the gods and also making them please, it all amounts to simply getting their favor and what will commensurate to our needs and necessities. See, if our needs and necessities are fulfilled, then Veda is important and all that. This generation, we have so many avenues. People are not bothered about government jobs. There are so many companies, so many software. So people in earlier days, to get a government job, even a peon's job in High Court or any other government office was a great boon in those days. And I remember when we were doing a lot of noise in the class at our BSc degree, then our teacher used to say, "You're all making so much noise. I will see you all panka pullers in taluk office." So we don't want to be panka puller. It was a small menial job. Anyway, that's why Parvatada, because our intelligence is growing, Bruhadatu, Bruhataha Parvatada. Bruhataha means very big. You can't measure how much. Ameyatma, we call Paramatma as Ameyatma, Paramatma Pavanakriti. So Ameyatma or Paramatma is a Pavana Akriti. His Akriti itself, his form itself is sanctifying us. That's exactly what is knowledge. What is Akriti of God? Knowledge only. Through knowledge only we are able to realize that there is somebody who is able to operate. That's why there are so many Bhranti mantras are there, which will tell you Namo Vache, Vachaspataye, Nama Rushibhyo, Mantra Krubhyo, Mantra Patibhyo, Paradam. All these Vedic knowledge will give you Paradam. They give you something beyond and beyond and beyond. So that's why Ano Pravarutata. And how can you make that knowledge? Yajatagantu. If you attach yourself, if you worship that, if you revere that, and if you apply yourself to that knowledge, and then she will come to you. That's why it's called Yajata Antu Yagnam. So the word Yagna does not mean all the paraphernalia which we see, the Vedi and the material, key and all. That's all one aspect. But Yaj is the dhatu, wherefrom we get the thing. So the Vedic tradition always pitches upon the Yaj, Yagna, Prayatna, work. Put up. You have to put up the work. You cannot be lazy and ask everything to come. That's what in yesterday's prayer to Agni, see, there in third line we said that I am trying to outwit or remove my own doshas. Juhuranameno, whatever yenas are there, sins are there, serious sins are there. Yuyotchasva, I just try to work out. That Yuyotchasva is the Vedic knowledge. That is, it will give you at the same time the measures through which you can definitely accomplish what you desire and what you are likely to desire too. Because you don't know desires, you don't know wants, but likely things are also there. So suddenly they crop up and then you start attaching importance to that. So the Vedic tradition is full of knowledge and seeking the knowledge, and how is that you are able to manifest a Vedic tradition. That's most important. One is the teachings of the Vedas. So what does Veda contain? All mantras are teachings. That is to say, they are instructions to mankind. Vedas are useful for mankind because man by birth is ordinary, basic. Janmana jayate sudra. I quoted already. Manu says in Smriti that all people are sudras. They don't know anything. Even the baby born does not know it should drink milk. But it has to be oriented, given training that it should suck the milk from the mother. From there, the activity yagna begins. And for some time, the baby depends on the mother. Afterwards, it becomes independent. When the baby becomes independent, we have to catch them. That's exactly is Veda. When Vedic knowledge is independent of us, then we have to go to it, make prayer, and possibly, because the Veda mantras are not at all easily understandable. It is not like classical Sanskrit. Classical Sanskrit is easy but Vedic Sanskrit is a separate one, and it requires a special vocabulary, special grammar. Therefore, what we call is Vedic grammar. So in order to understand the teachings and instructions given in the books, we have to require some amount of grammar. What is grammar? Grammar is analytical power. If you take a word, if you take a sound, you should be able to understand, analyze, and derive some kind of benefit out of it. Thereby, the teaching is important. So there are also several methods of teaching that I will separately take it up. But so when we are talking about Vedic tradition, we have to know teaching is one, and also the experience. See, that's most important. Unless the experience supports, people don't remain as in the Vedic tradition. It is easy to drop ourselves down from Vedic tradition. Oh, who wants it all hard, hard, hard? But people want relaxation and loose rules, and some kind of liberal things. But when you become liberal, you do not be online. You do not be happy unless you take up some hard jobs. Then only you get some kind of crowns or accomplishment and rewards. That's why exactly it's called Durga. When we call Durga, we should take up Durga works. Durga works means very difficult to comprehend, difficult to accomplish. But if you are able to do it with your intelligence, definitely you will be able to be happy. For example, to measure the heights of mountain or measure the depths of the oceans, it's not easy. Or count the number of stars or something like that. All are hard jobs. But this kind of hard jobs have already been done by our Veda Rishis and Vedic students, and they have registered their experience in that. To quote immediately, if you take up a Daittari Aranya Karuna Prasna, where there is a discussion on sun god, the solar system and all that, there we all think that only Earth is moving and all these things. But how about the solar system, about the sun, about the Surya Mandala? So one Rishi student, a very research student says, Apasya mahame tat Surya Mandalam parivartamanam gargya pranatrataha. So the pranatrata, a Vedic student, a research student of Veda, who is the disciple of Gargya, Pranatrata, he said, Apasya mahamaham, I have seen. What I have seen? Surya Mandalam parivartamanam, the Surya Mandala revolving. So, to see Surya Mandala revolving, what kind of gadget he had? He doesn't have any telescope or any scope. His horoscope was there only. The horoscope is the only scope which will give us so many secrets unraveled. That's why our horoscope should be good. And what is horoscope? The time of birth, and also at the time of birth, the planet's position in our own Kundali. Anyway, forget about it. So, Apasya Mahametat Parivartamanam is really an interesting thing. I mean, I'm talking about the experience point. And another student comes and tells that Ko antariche sabdam karoti iti vasishtho rohino mima gumsan chakre. So they always, people listen high sound from the sky. And so the students with something like, I think Einstein or who is it, Newton or so, who found the apple falling down. Why should the apple fall down only from the tree? Why not it go up or in another direction? So it's real. We always see anything falling down, but why should it fall down? So a scientific mind, a Vedic mind, an intelligent mind will not leave at that point of the fall, but it will investigate. Like that, these two, I mean to say that what we are doing is age-old practice. And before us, there are a number of people who have got experimentations, results, and experience, and with that experience, they have placed in the Vedic tradition. Looking at this kind of Vedic tradition where the beautiful experiences, newer and newer are there, we become suddenly curious. And that's exactly what it amounts to, scientific knowledge. So the Veda mantras, the instructions or teachings in Vedas contain both magic and practical things. So magic and science. Probably we'll always talk about magic and science. Science is that which you can reason out. Magic is that you just take it as it is. You can't say how it happened, it happened. It is just magical. And that's why We have more magic in our Vedas knowledge than always science. Because always science is limited. Magic is unlimited. Magic in the sense of miracle and experience. How do you feel that magic? By through experience. You know, a magician wants to demonstrate something, he will ask all the audience to clap. The clapping by the audience itself is an energy which will make the magic work. If all are very indolent, not doing any sound, then the magic won't work. Therefore, here also in Vedic tradition, we have plenty of magic. So I quoted this, Ko antarikshe shabdam karoti iti. Who is that making sound? The answer they found ultimately was Vasreva Vidyuditi. So Vasreva Vidyut. It is only combustion of the Agni or lightning and wind. Combustion of lightning and wind in the sky produces sound. Even when in our own household, when you are cooking with your firewood, sometimes it makes sound. So how that firewood makes sound? You know, because of the wind going and joining and making it sound. And the modern people don't know that experience. And we used to say that kind of sound, when it comes up, somebody comes to us, some visitor will be there to our house, something good happens. So that is we used to take as a woman. So good woman. So Vasreva Vidyuditi, like that. So you have got several answers like that, questions and answers. Just like Satyavan is putting questions and trying to derive answers from our Vedic tradition, from our Vedic experiences. So all rishis are highly experienced persons. Therefore, when you put a question, who is great? Is it God great or Rishi great?
Mm-hmm.
No, rishis are greater because they are in the Vedic tradition. And which means that they impart knowledge to generations of students. And we take their name, Vishwamitra Rishi, Savita Devata, Gayatri, Chanda, and we utter the Gayatri mantra, meaning that whether it is to be given to gods or you must sanctify that. Sanitize what we are doing, sanitization. That sanitization mechanic, spiritual sanitation is what is called as protchana with Gayatri mantra. So when once you make a protchana with Gayatri mantra, well, miraculous. It becomes sanctified. Everybody can approve. That's why my father used to say, never do it anywhere you are, without remembering Gayatri or doing Gayatri Protchana. I mean, that is a principle we have been taught in our Vedic tradition. If we do that, we are in the tradition. We ignore like that, you are not in any tradition. We are not in the flow. You are away from the flow. When you are away from the flow, you are independent. Means you don't have support. Our rishis are very powerful because they are trying to impart knowledge, and parampara is there. That's why Guru Parampara, Rishi Parampara, and all that. So we remember all these things. Therefore, the Vedic tradition, we can keep on going on talking, but we have got a ceiling that made by our Vani, because she's a Vani herself. Therefore, I simply here say Vagdevi Namaha. So the Vagdevi alone is able to manipulate, make the Vedic tradition flow, and whoever came into the purview of the Vedic tradition or whoever get into the Vedic tradition, they are always safe. Mm-hmm. All people born in India are very much safe because we have rich Vedic tradition. We have great philosophy. We have got great religion, and that you don't find outside the world. And people from outside, they will come to India and try for sake of spiritual strength. I know we have in our Kendra one student by name Vajko. He comes from Slovenia, and he stays whenever he comes to India on some work. He will stay near our Kendra, and 6 classes he will attend, learn something, and go away. He learned Aruna Prasna, Rudram, and all that. And one time I was taking him to our house. The road was under repair, a lot of stones and all that, not possible to easily walk. I told him, look at India. I don't care this, sir. This is a spiritual center for us. We come to this. I mean, that is what is Vedic tradition's eminence. And therefore, now I can stop about talking about the Vedic tradition, just telling that the tradition is live, in respect of the teachings and in respect of the experience. And we should always adapt to these things so that we will be traveling in the great train of Vedic tradition. Thank you very much, Amma. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prabhakar Garu. You really walked us, made us travel with you. Beautiful experiences, definitely for me, and I'm sure for the viewers. Thank you again, Andy. And we'll continue with further questions in the next episode. And thank you all. Thank you for visiting Smriti. And I hope you're definitely gaining so much knowledge from our scholars here, our contemporary scholars like C.L. Prabhakar Garu. So stay tuned. We have more coming in the future episodes. Namaste.